Hello, 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 everyone. We are on, at least hopefully my technology is on. I always question if that's the case. But welcome to your listening, if you are, and your eyes, or your eyes, if for whatever reason you can't see, to Laugh Off the Page. I am excited about this one. I received a suggestion to do a spinoff about some of the, galaxy and things I perceive according to me in regards to time cycles and all that. So I'm creating this one that is more of a time cycle theme. As you will see, with Traversing Time Cycles is the title of this episode. And we'll see where this goes. I have some slides, some interactives, some things to ponder, which it's my intention that you'll get a gift or contribution from it in whatever way that I hope serves you in the process. And otherwise, I'm looking forward to it. And then before I go on, those of you who listened to my last or watched my last episode about the art of who we are, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to do. It was way longer, way longer than I intended. So we'll see how long I talk in this one, hopefully a little bit shorter. But this one goes into a little bit about the galaxy, time cycles, different questions, different choices that we can make, and two cycles that I'm observing this year, the Tzolk'in cycle and this 13-month moon calendar that's also based on another Mayan timekeeping cycle. So with that, without further ado, let us begin. Let us begin. Ha! Okay. Little crick number one, must be a monkey day. So I have these questions that I ponder pretty much, especially lately with the world that we are living in. I will read them to you if you are listening. If you are watching, you just like hearing my voice, then here it goes. What is time? What is time to you? What is reality? What is your reality? And I ask these questions because, as I've learned through listening to several people that I've really appreciated their insights, asking questions or being in the question is a great way to see, as I mentioned the question, what's true for you, and also get you out of conclusion and solidity and sometimes getting out of your head, right? And at this time, I'm going to be using that a lot. We're really at a phase, and I sense this with a lot of people, where days are being blurred. The year is going by really fast. We are starting September, and chances are when you're watching this, it'll be sometime in September. 2021 went by super quick, I think, compared to 2020. So what is time, right? And I don't have a set definition of time. I have heard time is just simply movement. I've heard time is art. You can hear that time is money. You can hear that time is the amount it takes for an intention to unfold. There's a lot of different perceptions of time. But more than what is time, what I'm inviting you to ask, and this is what I ask, is what is time to you? Because, believe it or not, how you perceive time is actually a greater power, probably more than you realize, than what time is itself. Your perception of time, my perception of time. So you can ask this for yourself. You don't have to get an answer. You might get a visual, a sound, an energy, but what is time to you? How do you perceive time? Ooh, like the owl, right? What is time to you? Now, the next question I ask is, what is reality? Ha! Which might be even a bigger question than time itself, right? Especially, again, we're at a particular time where, yeah, everybody's got their point of view of what reality is. They've got a perspective on what's true, what isn't true. So what is reality? You might say it's something that people generally agree upon as true and real. Okay, cool, great, right? An even greater question than that is, what is your reality? How do you perceive your reality to be? Because again, just like how you perceive time, it's actually your perception of reality that has a greater weight than, what someone else is telling you reality is, or something else is telling you what reality is. Because believe it or not, you have far more power. You have, as someone I've heard say, far more potency, far more greatness, far more capacity than you think you do when it comes to your perception or your point of view. So what is reality to you? How do you perceive your reality? Just stay in the question. You don't have to answer it. You might get an impression, something might show up. But what is your reality? And like I said, it may not be solid. What you see as your reality today may be different tomorrow. Well, what is your reality? And I have to ask myself that too, because now I really don't know. I'm not quite sure what my reality is. I had what I thought was my reality, but I realized that might not be true for me. So you can ask the same thing. What is your reality? What is your reality? Okay, good. My slides are working. And all of this leads to, and what it's all really about is a self-exploration. My perspective on life is that it really is one big whole experience of self-exploration. Exploring the world, exploring yourself, exploring your surroundings, everything about you. And that's what it is. How you perceive time, what reality is to you. And the same thing, because I'm going to be talking about time cycles, it's one of the things that I do as I continue to ask questions is, how do these time cycles contribute to me being more of me? What gift do these cycles have to offer? What gift does time have to offer? Because time, however we perceive it, does, this is just my perspective, have something to show us about ourselves. Time can be a healer, right? Take your time. Some things take time. Growth, change take time. And time can be a great gift. And as I will read in a book at the end of this talk, time is actually fluid as water. So it's not what we think. But either way, I think it's important to continue to ask questions and look at the self-exploration of all this, as I'm doing here with, what do these cycles have to offer? What are they? Do we cater to them, or is time actually here to cater to us? This whole thing called life, right? It's a big thing. It's a really, really big thing. And it's not just one thing. It's not just what we're told. It's not just what our families think. It's not just what our friends think. It's a lot greater than that, I found. As great and as vast as this whole entire universe. So what is time? And what does it contribute to you? What is reality? What can reality contribute to you? And what is all of this here to show us, right? What is all of this life experience here to show us? I don't have the answer for that. Don't have the answer for myself. You may not have the answer for you, but yeah, let's explore. So here's some of my perception, and I'm going to go through a couple of timekeeping cycles. What I found is true for me. You are free to explore and really get interested, or, something else might pique your interest. All right. So this first cycle I'm looking at, this is actually the first time I've ever really observed it, so to speak, is a lunar year. And this is based on couple of different Mayan calendars. I don't have the names in front of me, but this is something I got, as you'll see, from the 1320 Sync app. And I think it's only available if you have an iPhone. It may be if you have a Galaxy or another phone. But this app also contains the Tzolk'in calendar, which I've spoken of before, and I will speak again within the next slide or two. And this lunar calendar is pretty consistent. It runs every July 26th through the July 24th of every Gregorian year. So keep in mind, like the time that we're used to right now, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's August right now, about to be September. That is its own timeline. That is the Gregorian calendar that we've been used to for who knows how long. And as you may be familiar with Western astrology, Vedic astrology, the Chinese New Year, there are other time-keeping cycles. Cycles based on the moon, cycles based on alignments of the stars and planets. Well, this is just one I'm looking at. I'm kind of getting myself familiar with some of these other cycles that I just spoke of, but this is the one I'm like, this is new for me. I want to see it. I'm going to see what it looks like. And okay, cool. Let's observe and see what it shows us, shows me. And I mentioned this in my last Life Off the Page episode, that this is the yellow seed, which some of its components are flowering, target, and awareness. And it's actually the yellow electric seed, and electric is number 3. So if you're all in numerology, you can consider what the number 3 means. But in this calendar, they use 3 components of activate, bond, and service. If you look at the app, I get activate. When we think of electric, we think of something that's charged, something that's activating, like this light bulb, it's turned on. Currency, electrical currents, movement, if you will. The app is a little bit more flowery, no pun intended, in its language. So I saw, if I can pull something from that and see what I get from it. So if you want to get the app will give you more information about the calendar and also what that source means by electric. But this is a yellow electric seed. So from this 13-month, this is just the way that I perceive it. You're free to perceive or see it the way that you like. Something is looking to blossom. We have awareness here, so there's an opportunity for more awareness to occur, perhaps for the collective, maybe for yourself, and something is looking to be activated. Maybe we're activating awareness, where something else is being charged. Flowering, right? Something is flowering and blooming here. And just so you know, last year, the last lunar year was a lunar, let's see, I think it was a lunar blue storm. So you can consider how like last year was very polarizing, volatile, very stormy. Yeah, that pretty much matched the description of that year. And I think if you look at the app, that you can find some way to track what that, and that'll verify that it was like this lunar storm year, which makes sense. This year, it looks like we still got some storminess, I guess, or some charged events and conversations. But this is a little bit different with it, something flowering, something growing, greater awareness. And again, that might be for the collective, that might be for you personally. And I will also say this doesn't mean that this is the only time you're going to flower, you're going to bloom, you're going to get more awareness, more consciousness. No. I mean, this can happen at any moment, in any time, really, any time or any space. It's just that this is the theme of the year, so this might be more pronounced in some way, shape, or form. And again, we're in number 3. This could be electric number 3. If you're someone who the 3 means like the Trinity or whatever that may be, that I think that's also a possibility. So again, I got my yellow flower, my sunflower here, and the light bulb. Perhaps there's something that turns on. Maybe something turns on for people that we can create something different, or something else shows up that we may perceive in our world personally or in the world of the collective. Look, and this is 13 months, in case you didn't read it. It's a 13-month calendar because there's 28 days per month for the moon. which is different than our Gregorian calendar, which is 12 months. It's got 12 months of, some months are 30 days, some are 31. Then we've got the one in February that could be 28 or 29. If you want to look up the origins of that calendar, that timekeeping system is very different. It's unique, right? It's on that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week kind of cycle. This is something different. So again, time is very fluid. Time is fluid as water, and there's a lot of cycles out there. And again, we can ask, what is time? Is a Gregorian timekeeping cycle like your kind of thing? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe none of these systems are, right? Or maybe you pull from each one. But this one I found very fascinating, and then I will go into a little bit more why here. We already had month one, so I'm not going to go through month one. If I can read what the first month symbolizes. And so the first month of every lunar month is unify, attract, purpose. So it's kind of getting I guess it's the purpose of the, theme of the year. This second month, which again, I want to emphasize because we're in it right now, technically, is from August 23rd, 2021 to September 19th, 2021. And this month, the flavor of this month is polarize, stabilize, challenge. Who knew? Especially when you look at the events that are going on right now. We've got hurricanes. We've got the thing going on with war in Afghanistan. And of course, we have that thing that I don't even mention that is still ongoing. So at least in the collective and what you're probably perceiving out there in the quote unquote typical world, or the thing we're told is reality, there's a lot of polarization. People in general being very unkind. I've definitely noticed that most of this year, people being on edge. You got to take this side or that side. This is right. This is wrong. This is good. This is bad. That again, that whole polarity back and forth kind of thing. And then we've got challenges. Some people may have challenges, other people may not, but at least we're told there's some challenging things going on. And if you are in fact impacted by a hurricane or the weather systems, then that might be some outward challenges. And I think hurricane season is still ongoing. I'm not sure when the end date is. But that is something to note. So at least from looking at when this lunar moon is, okay, of course, there are some things that are challenging, that are polarizing. The anniversary of September 11th is this month. So some very interesting things going on. And then, of course, we have fall. And so part of this polarization and challenge is us adjusting to a new season. And if you're in a place that has 4 distinct seasons, you might notice that particularly in your body even more. Kids are going back to school, we're going through all these changes right now. And that I would say, matches some of the qualities of this lunar month. And so that would make sense. Now, one thing I do want to look at is point out this word stabilize. And the way I see it is something is looking to stabilize. We're looking to find stability somewhere, right? There's a lot of challenging times. Like I said, you might be going into a new routine. We're going into fall. Fall is trying to stabilize, establish itself. But something is looking to stabilize. And when I first put this stuff together, I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? I guess, I could run my yap or hopefully make people laugh because I entertain myself sometimes. But there was something when I was writing this, I looked at it over and over again. Stabilize really came out at me. And it's because, as I mentioned, there is something looking to stabilize, or there will be this desire, and you can kind of sense it. We're all desiring to have some form of stability, right? Where do we find our stability? Where is this? What is this? And what I've received from it is, you actually find your stability. It might sound really big here, really small, but you find your stability in who you are. You're actually only going to be stable with yourself. And things are going to be polarizing in your life. Things are going to be really challenging sometimes. But if you're willing to be true to you, true to who you are, to nurture you, to honor you, to really be nourished by the love that you are and everything that you truly are, that's where you find your stability. And that is going to help you weather any storm, no pun intended, weather any storm or any circumstance. So I would invite you, if you will, to also look at this as kind of how life goes. Things might get rough at times. You might observe, that might be in your own personal world, right? Your own reality. In your reality, things might be kind of crappy, or you might observe in other people's realities. But the place we find our stabilization isn't in the outside world. It's in who we are and the choices that we make. It is, and even beyond the choices, it's still in who we are and who we're choosing to be. And if we're really giving our best to be who we are, to choose from a place of more awareness, to choose from what we know, to choose from intuition, from our spirit, our soul, I mean, that's where we're going to have our stability. So just know that whatever you're going through in life, the outside world, so to speak, isn't going to give you any sort of stability like you are. You as a being, you as a person in who you are. So always know that your stability is right where you are. It's in who you are. You don't have to go out and look for stability in any other places. You can find stability in your body, even. So that's my, I guess, my little bit of soapbox about stability, if you will. But really, it's in yourself. Things, I have no idea things are going to turn out the rest of the year with who knows what else. But I would say if putting this presentation together taught me anything, it's like, oh, your stability is in who you are. Stability is your knowing and awareness. And that stability, that essence of who you are, is always there. And it's always stable, believe it or not. Some people call it the true self, like I said, the soul, the spirit, whatever it is, that's where you find your stability in who you are. That's where your source self lives, or God, or wherever you want to, whatever word you want to call, but that is always stable. So again, finding stability in who you are, what you know to be true, regardless of your outside circumstances, regardless of what people say or do. People are going to be challenging. They're going to try to polarize you and trigger you and all that. Right, that's just how people are. People are peopling these days, even more than ever now, aren't they? So just know that your stability is in who you are and in yourself. And once again, fall begins September 22nd. So looking forward to that. All right, shifting gears. So that was a previous cycle with that lunar moon cycle. Now, depending on when you're listening to this, we have a new Tzolk'in cycle. So that is also occurring during this lunar moon cycle, and who knows what other cycles are going on right now in this whole universe. But the new Tzolk'in cycle is from September 1st, 2021 to May 18th, 2022. And this is a continuous 260-day cycle, which is close to or around 9 months. And that number, I would say personally, is important because that's about the time it takes for a human baby to be in the womb and then ultimately be born. Let's see. We have 20 archetypes, each with a 13-day cycle, which also equals 260 days. Now, I will say there's more than just a 260-day cycle. I'm going to highlight just one of them this time. There are cycles actually within this cycle you can pick and choose from and follow. But just for this time, and I'm just going to go through one, and certainly if anyone's interested or I sense that I'm called to, I can go through some of the other ones. But this is that big 9-month cycle. It'll continue to go every 260 days. It isn't set on a particular day of the year, of the Gregorian calendar year. It's just that this time it happened to fall on September 1st, which I find very interesting. It happened to fall on the 1st of the month. This last cycle that is ending, I think, began around the shift to the Aquarian age, which I will go through, which I will talk a little bit about that in a different Life Off the Page episode, not too long ago, because I'm sure you all heard ad nauseum about the Aquarian age. But we made a shift to the Aquarian age, I think, according to Western astrology. And the new Tzolk'in began around that shift, around that date, I think sometime later in December. So I find it interesting that this new cycle is beginning September 1st of a new month. I think there's a couple other cycles that might be beginning September 1st, I hear as well. So things happen, I guess, for a reason. The universe organizes itself in mysterious ways, perhaps. So that's just a brief overview about the Tzolk'in. And then each Tzolk'in cycle always begins with the red dragon, or the traditional Mayan calendar calls this the crocodile, or you might hear alligator, something like that. The traditional Mayan calendar that was different from the Tzolk'in. So this cycle, it's 13 days. As I previously talked about, there's 20 archetypes, each 13 days. And this is always the first one. And as you can see, the 3 elements that basically make up this cycle, well, the 3 main themes, I should say, there's plenty other elements that actually make up each cycle, but it's birth, right? Birthing a new cycle, birthing a new 260 days, nurture, and being. And this runs from September 1st, 2021 to September 13th, 2021, as far as the Gregorian calendar is concerned. So each cycle, each of the 20 archetypes have 13 days. And that's going to be like you might say for the whole week, like the base line of that whole 13-day cycle. It's going to have a crocodile, red dragon influence. Now, as I said, there are other components to the Tzolk'in, plenty of others than just the week. I'm not going to go through that at this time. I could probably, if there's interest, or I can finagle some good pictures, I can better show some of the other flavors of each day, some of the other attributes, because it's not just going to be about the red dragon for 13 days, or it's not going to be just about birth, nurture, being. Beingness is certainly a component of it. Nurturing is a component. And certainly birthing something anew. Who knows, somebody might be having a baby that might relate to birth, it could be something like that. But this is just a baseline of how the quote unquote week, and every week is 13 days and the Tzolk'in is kind of going to go. It's kind of this birth, nurture, being kind of flavor. I keep using that word flavor. Must be word of the day. So again, there are other components to it, but I think just for the time that we have, that's another word of the day. That's just going to be the absolute nature of it. And I have, this actually looks like an alligator. It could be an alligator. All the reptiles kind of fall under this cycle if you want to look at other archetypes here. Mothering is another big one, like the nurturing element, and of course, birth and being, right? Just being you. Being you, being who you are, being the stabilizing factor no matter what you're going through. And certainly as we begin this new month, I think us, again, continuing to be more of ourselves, to wonder what is true for us, and asking those questions. How do you perceive time? How do you perceive your reality? All of those relate to you being you and just, who you are. Again, that's what this first 13 days is basically about. Crocodile, birth, nurture, yang. New cycle, initiating something new. Now, as I said, there's other elements. So I'm going to go through briefly these 3 elements. So the week mainly takes a crocodile, red dragon focus. But what is included in that are these 3 other components. Blue monkey, which, yes, the monkey's not blue, although there are blue monkeys out there. Yellow sun, which in other Mayan calendars is also known as flower, but in the Tzolk'in it's yellow sun, and white mirror. Could not find a adequate picture of a mirror. So I've got this water, which is actually another component of white mirror. And in other Mayan Mayan cosmologies, white mirror is also known as knife, believe it or not, knife. So some of the qualities of blue monkey are magic, play, and illusion. And you might say it could be something like your inner child. Let's see. Some darker sides of it could be like sorcery, black magic. But some lighter sides are, just that play, magic, right? Remembering that we are magic. Wonder, awe, your inner child, so to speak. And just if you notice how monkeys are, right? These are kind of the qualities of monkeys. They like to play, they like to be tricksters, like to be jokers. They like to throw a wrench in the routine, so to speak. So monkeys, I guess they have their own organized routine, but you notice they like to play a lot, right? Things aren't always what they seem when you have a blue monkey component. That's why I think we have the illusion part of it, right? So there's the illusion. Yellow sun, which is another part of the undertone of the week, is universal fire, enlighten, and light. So those are the three. Again, we kind of go back to that. I guess it can kind of relate to a little bit of the yellow seed. We have flowering, target, awareness. This one also includes enlighten. And one thing I will say is, at least for me personally, when I've come across when the sun is present, there is some greater form of awareness, or I'm enlightened about something. So this has a potential to help enlighten you about something. It could be about yourself, about the world. And the other component is life, right? Because the sun is a great contribution to life on earth, right? We in part have the life we have because of the sun. And then fire, universal fire. The sun is a star, it's on fire, awesome. So that's briefly about yellow sun. White mirror, and as I said, I don't have a mirror, but one of the components are endlessness, reflect, and order. And you can also get more about information about these in the 1320 app. Again, I would say some of the language, I like it. Some of the language might be a little flowery and be like, huh? So there's another source I have that has, you might say, more concrete descriptions of them all. But my original source was 1320 app. So feel free to look at that and read that if you'd like. And again, white mirror, what I noticed first is about reflection. And so since we have the water, right? It's stillness, reflection, contemplation, meditation. So this also gives the red dragon cycle kind of a contemplative focus, so to speak. And endlessness. Notice the ripples, the endless rippling effect. Everything rippling out, continuing to ripple out, ripple out, ripple out. And the other component is order. Now, when the app speaks of order, it speaks of cosmic order. Like the universe, the cosmos has its own order, so to speak, to how things are and how things are oriented, how things move, how things go about. I'm still curious about this one because personally, I don't know if the universe is always so orderly. Sometimes I always perceive there's always an anomaly, a loophole, a wrench kind of in the quote unquote orderliness. And it's nice to have some chaos every now and then just to shift things, to make things different. But at least as the app says, it's known as order, which is referring to cosmic order. The universe always has a plan, I guess. I think I just did a book plug for that. But that's the other component. White mirror, yellow sun, blue monkey. Again, it sounds like a lot. Yeah, when I read this, it is a lot. And I don't think it's something that your typical mind needs to orient itself. As I looked at this stuff over time, I realized things kind of just show up on their own. So if these next 13 days you find yourself more contemplative, enlightened about something, or wanting to play, or maybe you see more monkeys, there's more emphasis on the sun, you're around a lot of lakes, mirrors, or knives, then those might be outward ways in which the Tzolk'in is showing up. And the same component can be the same for the crocodile. You might see it on the news, or you might come across that. Again, maybe, oh, wow, somebody's pregnant, childbirth is going on, something new is happening, that sort of thing. And that's really the best way I can explain it, because there's so much more to this, like pretty much any and all time keeping cycles. But the best that I can do this time around to see if I could explain this is what I have. If, however, you have any questions, you want to see more, learn more, then let me know, and I'd be glad to at least show you what I know for now, because my knowing is ever expanding and growing itself just like everybody else on this planet. So thank you all for letting me show you all those things. So this is actually my favorite slide, because like I said, oh my gosh, like there's red dragon, there's blue monkey, there's white mirror, there's yellow sun, and then we've got this other cycle going on here. If I had a picture of how I actually perceive all of this, and then you add the Gregorian timeline too, that we're, most of us are accustomed to. This is how I perceive time and all the timelines. It looks like, I guess this is a city which has like sidewalks, pathways, highways, different streets, different corners. Some of them just go in a straight line. Some of them go in a circle. You see there's a couple spaces here where things intersect. And there's just a whole lot of other stuff going on. And that's what I see, or at least at the moment when I look at all of this, it's like, wow, there's so many different directions that time goes. There's so many different ways to orient with this stuff. And it's almost like if you choose one of these cosmologies, whatever it is, it could be something I talked about here, or something else, you go on this path, right? You go on this lane in the highway, and it takes you wherever it's going to take you. And if you choose to jump off that highway or get into a different lane, it takes you somewhere else. So time is definitely not linear, as I know as a lot of us are accustomed to. It's definitely not. It goes through its own journeys, and you may perceive time totally different, and it may take on a completely different journey than this image here, which is always fascinating itself. So just this is how I perceive all of this stuff to be, and just be aware, if you're like, this is what time is for me too, or what timelines are, then yeah, totally okay. And if you're like, I don't get it, that's fine too. Wherever you're at, whatever you perceive is totally cool with me. And I honestly think it's a greater world when all of us have different perspectives on things. But this is mine. This is how I perceive all these different timekeeping cycles to be. And I honestly think it's going to be more like this now, at least the way that I perceive the world to be. It just seems like reality is just clearly not what any of us thought it would be. And that I'm actually happy about that personally. I'm very grateful for that, because it gives me an opportunity to create something different, as I think it does for all of us. So yeah, looks like we're gonna traverse different pathways, different highways. You jump on one cycle, you don't like it, you can jump on another. Some of you will be driving really fast down some ways and driving really slow, or maybe you'll be walking. I like this lane, I don't like that lane. But that's time. I think in these cycles show us there's so many different ways that we can orient to them. And honestly, I think it's about what we choose. Because if you choose to orient yourself to a certain particular cosmology or certain timeline, then that kind of creates your life from there. And you start to see your life reflecting that, right? Now, if you don't like it, the good thing is you can always change it. You can always, choose something different. I know nowadays, because we have a boring timeline, that we're all in agreement with that pretty much. So we're going to have that component. But if you're like me and you want to add a different cosmology, you're interested in something different, then you can add that and see, okay, how does this, what is my life like with this cosmology or this timeline or this whatever this is, to you, and what does it contribute to my life? How does my life look now? Do I notice any more synchronicities? Am I more me? Do I perceive the world differently? How do I perceive myself? So use the timelines and everything to an advantage. Don't let them take advantage of you. Because, as I'm going to read this quote a little bit later, things aren't always what they seem. And such, I present these questions again. And this doesn't require an answer. It really doesn't. You can just ponder and consider it. As the owl looks, sideways. What is time? What is time to you? What is reality? What is your reality? And you might even ask, how does your perception of time, how does your reality make you more of you or not? So just see what comes up. It can always change. Answers are not final. No answer is final here. No answer is final here. And again, this is all about our self-exploration. Our exploration while we're here on this planet, our exploration of this Earth, of this solar system, of this galaxy. We're just, your exploration of being who you are, and living a life that I would hope that everyone finds is worth living for them. Whatever you choose, whatever you know to be true for you. May whatever that be give you just a greater sense of peace, well-being, abundance, prosperity. Because I know, and I'm sure as many of you know, we could use more of that right now. And I'd say it's available. Again, no matter how polarizing or challenging things are, you can always find stability in yourself. You can, it's there. And I would say even if you do subscribe to a higher power, greater power, your stability is still there too. And you are just as much, again, my opinion, a part of that higher power as that higher power is a part of you. Okay. And as I promised, I wanted to read this quote about time. Decided to put it in at the end. And I'm reading this quote again from the Gene Keys. This is a book I'm really grateful that I got this book, because it's given me a lot of great nuggets in my life. And if you feel subscribed to get it, I think it's well worth reading and looking at. And this has a quote about time that when I first read it, I was like, huh? But I think now it's been a couple years past since I read it or really looked at it. It's like, okay, now I see it. So this is from the 16th Gene Key, Magical Genius, if you will. Again, that thing about magic and Blue Monkey, which I think, again, we will be reading this, there'll be a Blue Monkey component, funny enough. But it involves mastery, versatility, and indifference. And this is about the shadow of indifference. And one of the things about indifference is, well, not taking the risk of being different. As this says, as long as you are indifferent, you can't ever be different. And another part of this Gene Key is about doing what you'd love to be doing. With all that said, though, I want to read this quote about time. One of the primary excuses human beings use for not doing what they truly want in life is the excuse that they don't have enough time. This habit of making yourself a victim of time is the core escape strategy of the 16th shadow. But time actually has nothing to do with it. You have become a victim of your mind rather than of time. Time itself is as fluid as water, and as the 17th and 5th and 52nd gene keys testify, it can be bent, shortened, twisted, lengthened, and even stopped. The moment you take a stand and begin to follow your dreams, time becomes your ally rather than your enemy, automatically adapting itself to fit your needs. Interesting, huh? So what if we ask time? Or what if again, if with us being who we are, time starts to contribute to us? Time is the chapter alludes to, becomes our greatest ally. So again, something to ponder. Until next time, huh? Or is it until next time? Who knows? Again, thank you all for listening. Please let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate your listening. I appreciate your eyes. I appreciate your readership in this next chapter and phase and whatever is going to happen in my world. And may your world, may your reality be as beautiful, as true, as bright, and as vibrant for you. So again, till next time, ciao, bye-bye.